Good evening. I'm going to read or recite, whichever is the greater, the Herts of Barley by Robert Burns. Born in 1759, just for those of us who can't quite recall, and he died in 1796. And by way of a little preamble and introduction, the poem was written around Lammas time, or it's set in the Lammas time. So I've took the trouble to check out Lammas, and perhaps we all know that it refers to harvest and harvest thanksgiving. So I've written this: Lammas, or loaf mass, loaf of bread. They would take a loaf on Sunday to the church and they would have mass, and that would be celebrating the harvest. And in modern days we would call it harvest thanksgiving. So Lammas in August was harvest celebration. In pagan and in Christian times, folk would take a loaf of bread to church mass. In our pre-industrial age, rural communities depended on an abundance of harvest. A good harvest encouraged much festivity, eating and drinking, and Robert Burns was no stranger to all that. As well as being a farmer and a poet, he was also popular. The popular and tolerant view of him is that he was a ladies' man, a charming, charismatic, persuasive, and successful seducer. However, Liz Lochhead, who was the poet laureate for Scotland until 2016, appointed by Nicola Sturgeon. She was a former poet of Scotland, has described him as a sex pest in the mould of Harvey Weinstein, or Weinstein if you didn't do German at school. Fortunately for our peace of mind tonight, Professor Gerard Carruthers of Glasgow University, a Burns scholar, he complained at that time of an approach that, quote, refracts everything through our 21st century presentism, essentially judging history by the ephemeral journalistic stories of today, unquote. Lochhead herself, however, said of Burns in 2014 at a Burns supper, quote, the saving grace, the red meat and drink will be, of course, the poetry and the songs of Robert Burns. There will be the poems, such energy, such dazzling brilliance, such vigorous living language. This poetry performs itself, still demands to be heard aloud. Close quotations. She also said, as a libertarian, a democrat, a lover of freedom and autonomy, a revolutionary and a romantic, of course Burns would be voting yes, and she meant in the 2014 independence referendum. Corn rigs. Corn rigs was a field ploughing system, a method of following a particular method of ploughing from the early medieval ages in Britain, mainly in the northeast of England and in Scotland, until the 18th century when the enclosures and the highland clearances took place and the communal way of living began to die. So the undulating pattern of the cornfield would allow our bard and his sweetheart plenty of cover for their moonlit dalliance. The Annie of the poem was Anne Rankin, daughter of John Rankin of Adam Hill. I looked up Adam Hill on the internet. It's still a community, I think, but I could only find adverts for very pleasant looking new houses costing next to nothing. At any rate, Anne Rankin married a guy called John Merry. He was the innkeeper at New Cumnock, where Burns was staying in 1786, August 1786, so you can put two and two together there. Here is the poem, and I'm probably going to refer to this because I haven't learned it by heart. It was upon a Lammas night when corn rigs are bonny. Beneath the moon's unclouded light, I held awe to Annie. The time flew by with tentless heed, till between the late and early, with small persuasion she agreed to see me through the Barley. The sky was blue, the wind was still, the moon was shining clearly. I set her down with right good will among the rigs of Barley. I kent her heart was all my aim. I loved her most sincerely. I kissed her hour and hour again among the rigs of Barley. I locked her in my fond embrace. Her heart was beating rarely. My blessings on that happy place among the rigs of Barley. But by the moon and stars so bright, that shone that hour so clearly, she I shall bless that happy night among the rigs of Barley. I hae been blithe with comrades dear, I hae been merry drinking, I hae been joyful gathering gear, I hae been happy thinking. But all the pleasures ere I saw, though 3 times double fairly, that happy night was worth them all among the rigs of Barley. And as a chorus it goes, corn rigs and barley rigs and corn rigs are bonny, I'll never forget that happy night among the rigs of Barley.